Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Echo Valley, and a new drama thriller coming to you from Apple TV Plus and director Michael Pierce, who previously did a film called Beast, which is a fantastic film, very underseen. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, seek it out. But here, we focus on the story of Kate who's dealing with a personal tragedy while owning and training horses in Echo Valley, an isolated and picturesque place, when her daughter Claire arrives at her doorstep and trembling and covered in someone else's blood. That is a strange synopsis of this movie. I'm reading this off of IMDb because this film really is a tale of two films. Because the first half of this film really is drama. And you have Julianne Moore, who plays Kate, who struggling to keep her farm afloat. Her ex-husband, Kyle MacLachlan, has a lot more money than her, and Kate is dealing with the recent death of her wife, who died very tragically, and her daughter Claire, played by Sydney Sweeney, is an addict, and has been in and out of rehab, and is really struggling. And she has this boyfriend who's really not putting her in a great place, and there's this very ominous figure played by Donald Gleason who's kind of looming over the situation. This first half of the film is very poignant. It has a lot of great character moments. It's full of emotion. And it's raw. You really feel it. You feel the tension and just the emotion of this whole entire situation. I think Julianne Moore is incredible. Sydney Sweeney has some great moments as well. There's a particular conflict that happens between the two of them in the first half of this film that is so harrowing and hard to watch. And this film, really dealing with loss and trauma and addiction, does it in a very raw and visceral way. And then there's a turning point where Kate's character gets pulled in to some nefarious operations, and this film completely shifts into a crime thriller and really just spirals out of control into this convoluted, ridiculous story that the film, I think at first, Pierce and screenwriter Brad Inglesby do a great job of subtly setting up the twists and turns in this other narrative that launches in the second half of this film. It's a lot less interesting. It's so much more cliched and over-the-top soapy melodramatic that kind of undercuts all the poignancy of the great character work in the first half of the film. But, you know, it's still twisting and this and that. Then the film has to obnoxiously over-explain everything to you, despite the fact that it gave you enough to understand what was happening in a subtler, more effective way. So then the storytelling undercuts the weaker half of this film that's already undercutting the first film. And then we get to the point where it's just like, I feel like a lot of this film loses its bite and loses its focus on what was really working and what really brought us in. There's even a decision. One of the things that Donald Gleason's character does to gain control and an upper hand on Moore's character Kate, there's so much that could have been done with that because it's a complex and horrible thing. But then the film doesn't explore that at all and just moves on. It's like, well, we got to keep on doing this crazy twisted narrative. And this is a clash of two tones, a clash of two stories that are mashed together, two films basically. And the first half is what really was effective and drew you in, and then it spirals into this completely different type of movie that is not as interesting, is not as emotionally resonant, and is a lot clunkier and ineffective in comparison to this very poignant human drama that happens in the first half of the film. Moore, throughout, gives a fantastic performance. Sweeney is not in the film as much in the second half, but she's still, when she shows up, she has plenty of emotion to pour in. Fiona Shaw plays Kate's best friend, and they have some great moments. And you have Donald Gleason's character, who's basically a caricature. Like, he's he's the kind of person that you just want to like jump through the screen and punch in the face, and I think Donald Gleason does a great job portraying that, but it's just the character is so nothing and just such a like a plot mechanism that there's so much less poignancy, so much less effective storytelling, and just anything in the second half of this film that really undercuts a really strong, emotional, and poignant first half that has so much potential, and then it just all feels like it was in service to try to, send you down the spiral of a twisted crime thriller instead of the really raw and challenging themes that it was tackling to begin with. So at the end of the day, I feel like this film kind of negates itself, where it set itself up for being this great emotional drama in the first half just to offer up a bunch of cliched melodramatic crime thriller genre tropes in the second half, and it just never meshes together well, and you're kind of left unsatisfied by the end. But those are my thoughts on Echo Valley. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.